It's Nolan.
Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
It seems I've been missing from the scene, but I'm always coming right back. In the city, just a couple niggas with me, cause I know I gotta watch my back. And I'ma be the realest when the dog falls down. And I'ma still be standing when the sky fall out. They say it's gang gang till it's time to roll out. But when them things bang with them niggas at now.
Yeah, I had niggas turn their back cause I ain't blow up quick enough. Now the sun's picking up, I see they started moving sus. Every other day somebody tryna pick in my brain. I got consulting fees for that, my boy. Shit done changed, I need at least $1 million plus a Richard Millie. I don't think they feel me, y'all. This game I drop, I'm on my gilly. Tell me what the dilly, stupid, silly fuck. My girl exclusively in trucks. You sending texts, but I no check. We make the message self-destruct. Ain't even chasing women. I just state my business, getting straight to chicken. Seen too many niggas lose their freedom for they code to finish. Shit is switching. I've been peeping all this from afar. 30 miles from out the city, I just show up to do my job, nigga. Ever since COVID, I've been laying my lowest. Started weighing pros and cons and saw this shit was all bogus. I'm just exchanging value. Speak my truth and I just pray it matters. Can't make excuses if you ain't actively changing patterns.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there this evening. In this video, we're going to be getting into Elliot Wilson, all right? Now, y'all know Elliot Wilson has been holding the flag pretty much by his lonesome for the most part for the last few years of really criticizing so-called hip-hop journalism, right? That's what put him on the back on the map, on the radar, I should say, because he's been out here working for years, of course. But he really caught a lot of flack when he came out and criticized Nicki Minaj for going on Kai Cenat, twerking, and doing basically a softball interview stream where they didn't really get into anything substantial, nothing memorable from that interview or that sit down. And people were mad at him. Nicki was extremely mad. She cussed him out for days and months and even came back and shitted on him last year because she still felt the way about it. He's also been very critical of Drake for pretty much the same thing, sitting down with streamers, not sitting down with hard-hitting platforms that will ask him hip-hop related questions or anything that would ultimately result in a substantial conversation. He'd rather sit down with the likes of an Aiden Ross, somebody who's just basically sitting down with him for the opportunity because it, shines a big spotlight on his platform. He gets to suck up on his man parts for, however long they sit down and talk. And the symbiosis is Drake gets to be in front of a large platform of people while Aiden Ross gets the benefit of having Drake interact with him, talk to him, hang out with him, etc. But again, nothing substantial comes out of it. No information, no real updates come out of the conversation. It's just here today, gone tomorrow bullshit, right? So Elliot Wilson, on the bigger picture, came out and he spoke to some of the media heads in this hip hop space, namely Fat Joe and Maul from the Rory and Maul show. He named them specifically, basically letting them know, hey, you guys may not be journalists, but we're all in the same game, right? We're all talking about the same subject matter. We're all, running the same stories. We're all talking about the same albums. This is hip hop. Don't start reserving your opinion on what's going on. Don't start acting like you don't care about what's going on when this is the game that we're all in. People want to hear your opinion. Why withhold them? And also speak your opinion on these artists not coming to platforms such as yourself to have a real talk. Why is it okay that they skipping out, right? But then you have all these OGs and people that are coming in talking, especially on the Joe and Jada show. So he's like, yo, we got to call it all even across the board. If people are avoiding having real conversations, we got to speak to that. This is hip hop. Some people act like they're above the program, but nobody is above the program. It don't matter how famous you are, how rich you are. And we're seeing that with everything that's unfolding in Atlanta with all of these people's personal business being leaked out into the street, jail phone calls, everybody's coming out saying they feelings. Nobody's above the program, even on a street level, from the streets to the fame, to the rap game, to whatever game you come from. The program will outlive us all. So let's go ahead and pull up Elliot Wilson and see what he had to say while speaking to Jeremy Hecht and DJ Head about the state of affairs in hip-hop media, the artists not wanting to come sit or talk or have any real conversation, and how it's ultimately impacting the overall landscape of the music, etc. So we've got a quote up top that says, "All you podcasters and media personalities, you don't want to talk about Cardi album no more. Nigga, you signed up for the gig. I don't care if you are Maul or Fat Joe, you don't get to conveniently not have an opinion." He goes on to say Drake sitting next to Bobby Altoff was the beginning of the end. You know, the first interview, not the one that they have coming up.
All you podcasters and media men, you rappers that turn media men.
I'm a
y'all
radio
wanna
guy.
act like y'all are media men. We're all this. You had your dream come true. We're all the same motherfuckers. We're the same. Elliott's journalism thing means nothing. Rob Markman's means nothing. Jeremy Hex means nothing. You're a podcaster, you're a former rapper, you're all media men. I'm a media personality. I'm not a journalist, and I don't want to talk about Cardi's album no more because, nigga, you signed up for the gig. The gig is the gig. You barely can talk to artists. They want to know what you think about everything. We're doing the same goddamn thing. You want to call yourself I'm still an artist. I'm a media man. I'm a podcaster. I'm a radio personality. I'm a journalist. Like, we're in the same game, motherfucker. We're in the same game. My nightmares come true. We're in the same game.
Hey, you know what?
We're on the same thing.
Whenever you crash out, you sound
It's
like
the same thing.
You sound like you just got off the subway.
No, I see this like
same game, motherfucker.
I don't care if you're Maul. I don't care if you're Fat Joe. I'll name names. Your opinion does matter because that's the platform. Your audience wants your opinion on things. You don't conveniently get to drive like I'm not qualified. I'm not a journalist. We have the mics. We're all talking. We're doing the same thing. We're all the same media men and women.
I'm a media person.
We all, and so am I, and so is Jeremy. We're all the same thing. So don't talk. Like, you see, there's no more respect for the journalist anymore.
I have respect. First episode of The Bigger Picture. We sit 60 episodes in?
Yeah.
Over a year. I said first episode. I don't consider myself a journalist. I respect journalism.
You said around 50 you might. We're 60,
Maybe, but I don't think I'm there. I don't think I'm qualified. I still respect journalism. So no, I'm not a journalist. Kiss my ass.
Bobby Altorf is media. DJ Head is media. Jeremy Heck is media.
For sure.
Elliot Wilson is media.
I won't consider her a journalist, though.
No, it doesn't matter.
I know what you're saying. We're all in the same bucket.
We're all media. Everybody says what it is media. So let's you slowly. And I told you niggas this was happening. I told you early on.
You did.
I'm Elstradamus, nigga. I told you Drake sitting next to Bobby was the beginning of the fucking end. I told you Nicki's twerking on Kaisenat's crib was the beginning of the end. Y'all didn't want to listen. Y'all want to tear me down. Elliot's just hating. Things change, old man. Adjust. He's just hating. Now everybody want to have a pity party because somebody who's more beloved in this space got attacked out of nowhere for no reason. And everybody wants to act like, let's show grace to journalism. You ain't got no motherfucking grace for journalism. Y'all don't give a fuck. It's all lip service. The people don't. The people don't. The industry does it. The artists don't.
So basically, Elliot Wilson has been predicting the end of hip hop journalism, the end of hip hop media being really taken seriously. And this is something that he pushed back against years ago, you know what I mean? But a lot of people, once again, called him a hater, said he was the old man, need to get out the way. And I've even criticized some of his outbursts and crash outs on my channel. I still stand by some of those things because I think, unfortunately, you're kind of in a lose-lose situation, right? It's tough to see the world that you used to exist within kind of become no more. And when you go out kicking and screaming, you're never seen in a positive light because it's just like, dude, the world has passed you by. Get with the times. You know what I mean? It doesn't stop for anybody. On the opposite spectrum, while it's happening and that's what you're seeing and you're calling it and you're able to see like, yo, this thing is going to dry up if nobody wants to take it seriously from the people on the mic taking the job seriously, taking the platform seriously, taking the opportunity seriously, taking the coverage seriously, being responsible with what it is or what you won't put out. To even the artists, you know, being willing to go on people's platforms, talk about the music, get into the creation process, talk about where they are in their life, actually connect with the fans, because that's something that's very much missing in music these days, is because a lot of artists don't want to do interviews anymore. They don't want to get clipped up. They don't want to be going viral for something they said about one person, or that be the focal point of the whole conversation, whereas a whole hour of other talking points get overlooked. So it's a fucked up game in totality. But when you have the people at the top of the so-called food chain foregoing those opportunities, it does have a trickle-down effect, right? But what I will say to Elliot is, for the artists out there that really want to get a message out, that really have something to say, that actually want to connect in this time frame, I think we're going to start seeing more people doing sit downs. If anybody's been paying attention to the clips and how they rolled out their project, that was a masterclass in connecting with audiences. They sat down with hip hop platforms. They sat down with late night platforms. They sat down with fucking, you know, what, New York Times, CNN, not CNN, but fucking daytime television. Like, they covered the whole spectrum, and they stayed consistent in their messaging. They stayed on brand. They didn't necessarily code switch. Like, whatever it was, whether it was Pusha T happy to get out of the Def Jam deal, to talking shit about Travis Scott, talking about the Ye situation, talking about his exit from Good Music. These are the things that people wanted to know. It had been a couple years since Good Music had dissolved, and people were like, yo, how does Pusha T feel about this? What led him back to, you know, do the clips? How did Malice come back? What was on his mind? Because he said he would never do it. He had been declining all types of opportunities for years to do clips. And we saw how the culture responded to these guys. We saw how the culture responded to their personalities being fully on display. So honestly, to counter what Elliot is talking about, I think if anybody paid attention to what that was, especially in the hip hop space, you're going to have to try to do something similar. You're not going to be able to fully duplicate it, but you're going to have to get your ass out the house, out the studio, off the fucking couch, and come communicate with some people and let it be known where you are today. We even see Scarface doing Club Shay Shay. I don't think Scarface even got no new music to drop. He's like anti-dropping new music, but he did an interview with Shannon Sharp though. Why? I don't know. But it gave people a glimpse into who he is and where he's at currently, which is always welcome. So I think a lot of people got to just readjust their relationship with the public, readjust how they interact. And it doesn't mean that you have to give unnecessary, invasive access to yourself. You just come as you are, put yourself on display, know what you're willing to talk about, what you're not willing to talk about, but also have a little bit of wiggle room to be personable. And it's that fucking simple, you know? So if you can't do that, then clearly you must have something to hide, or you're ducking from something, or you're running from yourself. I don't know. So we're just going to have to see where things go from here, man. Because I'm not going to lie. We say that hip hop is in a good space, and we've gotten some good music this year for sure. But the real test is going to be how sustainable is the current model of hip hop, right? Because we are getting good music, but it's not even profitable to talk about or praise good music, right? When we're talking about these projects that come out they get less views than the bullshit, than the spectacle, than the Drake just did this. You know what I mean? As I'm sitting here, I got a video premiering of Beanie Siegel getting his voice back. Him and Jadakiss got new music out. Sounds pretty good. Beanie Siegel sounds like his old self. I'm looking at the chat. It's 30 people in that motherfucker. But y'all act like y'all don't like Drake, or y'all want to, you know what I'm saying? Y'all tired of Drake talk. Y'all tired of the lawsuit. Y'all tired of this. But when we do lawsuit updates, it's 400-500 people in the chat. I'm not calling nobody out or saying anything. I'm just pointing out what's real and true and what time we're living in. So I think everybody, we all got to contribute and do our part. You know what I'm saying? Joey Badass, one of the more talked about hip hop artists in the YouTube space this year based on everything. His album, decent, but it wasn't a crazy amount of people in the chat for that review. So what incentivizes continuing to do reviews for actual hip hop music if people ain't showing up for that, but they want to show up for the train wrecks? Again, not criticizing anybody. We're going to talk about that stuff too. But if we want hip hop to be a thriving ecosystem and economy, we want to keep this thing going. We got to show up for the people that are actually good. We always talk about, oh, this person's trash. This person's trash. We'll collectively come together to call somebody trash quicker than we'll come together to uphold what we think is actually good. You know? So I think there's way more at stake than just streamers or Rory and Mal or Fat Joe and people being silent about Drake's antics, or, you know, not caring that he's not pulling up to hip hop platforms. I think there's just a whole like underbelly of things that are bubbling that need to be either corrected or just worked out, or maybe just algorithmically it's you know, getting tuned out. Maybe that's just what it is. Maybe it's just algorithmic. I can't say. All I can do is report on what I'm seeing, and it is what it is, I guess. But let me know what y'all think of all this down below in the comments. Let me know where y'all stand with Elliot Wilson and his another crash out. His criticism of, I guess, the journalists that are being silent, not speaking out, and the ones that maybe aren't taking this job so seriously. They're just doing it to get a check, you know what I mean? Because the checks might start dwindling if the views start dwindling. There's that too. Again, I'll catch y'all on the next one, man. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rags. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef on computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. But drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.